Sarah, hi, Jim Delapine here. I'd like to give you some video feedback here on Chris, and this looks really good. You did a great job with all the layer masks, and I can tell because if I select the background layer and fill it with black, which is my foreground color, I'm hitting Alt Backspace or Alt Delete. I see that there's no straight pixels, but I will tell you that because the arms and legs, the wires are so thin, be very careful with your background, okay? You don't want the arms and legs to get lost, so you're going to have to be pretty specific with that, with choosing a light value so that the arms and legs will stand out, okay? You don't want them to get lost. So let's talk about, first of all, scaling this needs to be within the 6 by 8 inch area. So if I click on the head and shift click the arm layer, I'm selecting all of those at the same time. So the shift adds two. So if I select one layer and hold down the shift key, I can do that. And it will add all of them together in a row. Or you can individually click and then control or command click individual layers, okay, to add to the selection. So, but pardon me, pardon me. But what I want to do is select all the layers and scan them down, scale it down a little bit. So I'm going to hit Control T, and then I will go to any corner, click and drag inward, and as I'm dragging, I'm holding down the Shift key, and also the Alt or Option key to scale into the center point. So I'll go into about this point right here, and then let go of the cursor first, and then the Shift and Alt key. I'll then hit Enter to apply the transformation. Okay. Pardon my throat. I feel a little raspy here in the throat. So now what we'll do is I'm just going to select the head here, and note that what we're going to do is place a screensaver into this area here where the monitor is. What's going on with my voice? So I've got this file here that I will go to the rectangular marquee tool, click and drag around the center area here. Now you can use any screensaver any screensaver file. I just happen to have this one. And if you'd like this, let me know and I'll email it to you. Alright, so I'm going to hit Control C to copy. Then I'm going to zoom in on the monitor of the laptop and go to my lasso tool. So what I want to do is create a selection, a careful selection around the monitor area. So zooming in is always a good idea. So if I click right in the corner here and then hold down the Alt key, that gives me the lasso tool. So that's a shortcut for accessing the polygon lasso tool. Okay, I could use the polygon lasso tool, but I'm taking this opportunity to give you a shortcut. So I'm going to click, hold my cursor down, then hold down the Alt key, and then let go. And I have this rubber band, and I'm going to very carefully click in each corner. And it looks a little distorted here. And then I'll do that. Yeah, it looks like the right side is not a straight line. It's okay. We'll leave that as is. Alright, so now what I'll do is, since I copied this into the clipboard, I'll now go to Edit, Paste Special, Paste Into. So that's copying that screensaver face into that selection. Alright, so I'm now going to hit Control 0 to zoom back out to fit my document in the window. And then I'm going to hit Control T for free transform. And then I'll zoom into that area a little bit, and then I'll scale this down a little bit, and notice how it automatically created that layer mask for it. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag in. As I'm dragging, I'm holding down the Shift key, and I can also hold down the Alt key to to zoom into the center point. I'll let go with my cursor, and then I'll rotate it a little bit, and then I can also let go with my cursor and then use the arrow keys to further manipulate it, okay? So then I'll hit enter. Alright, so that's a way of getting the screensaver face in there. And now note what happened here. There's an area here that needs addressing. It still shows the background. So what I could do, and this is the purpose of a layer mask. Okay, uh, this gives you a way of going back and editing it by editing the mask and not deleting or um, not deleting pixels. So I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool. I'm going to make sure it's at 100% hardness. Okay, and then I'm going to go to a reasonable size brush. So if you hit your left bracket key while you're in the paintbrush tool, it will reduce the size of the brush, or the right bracket key will increase the size of the brush. So I have black as my foreground color. So now if I paint with that, notice how it's showing the background. Okay, so I'm going to undo that and swap it for white. So now if I click along here, very carefully, watch what I'm doing now. I'm going to click here, and then hold down the shift key, and I create a straight line in between. See that? So I'm actually editing the mask. Okay, so that's a little tip there. And yeah, aside from that, you did a great job. Again, I'm concerned about the wires, but also see if you could have fun with this. You may want to get a happier screensaver face than this, but note that if I click on the screensaver face and then shift click or control click, what's going on here? Why didn't that happen? Click and then control click. Why isn't that selecting? It's actually, let's see here. If you click on the laptop and then shift click the monitor head, it selects both layers. And then if I hit Control T, I get a bounding box, and then I'm going to take this center point and simply click and drag it down. Okay, so this is a center point that allows me to now rotate around that center point. So I can do something like that. But, oops, what happened was this. Let me undo that. Note that the layer mask and the image is not linked because we pasted into it. So what I have to do is simply click in between. Okay, now the mask and the image is linked together. I'll hit Control T, move my center point down here, and now when I rotate, the mask rotates with it. So you could start to get some kind of an animation going on here, a feeling of having fun with this, okay, and maybe make her dancing. So let me apply that transformation. So let's go to this layer here. So you may want to take this, hit Control T, move the center point up here so I can rotate it around that point there. And just see what you can do with maneuvering these things around to make Chris look like he's dancing or whatever, okay? So I hope that helped, okay? Take care.